Who's had some soup? Who's had some soup? What a load of rubbish, don't you think? Such a load of rubbish, that soup. Yeah, it would have been rubbish. It would have been left to rot. And the next person up on stage is going to tell us about just how much good food is being wasted, and he's a load of rubbish as well. In fact, to begin with, I want to show you what the kind of typical dumpster, the typical trash can in America, it often looks like a trash can, and you think a trash can is going to be full of, well, stuff you don't want, right? But sometimes it's got real gold inside, real jewels, stuff of real value that we can learn from. And this trash can is just such a trash can. What pure gold. This is Rob Greenfield, ladies and gentlemen, the food waste legend of the United States of America.
Hi. Wait, I think I got a mic on. Do I got a mic on? Yeah. Okay. It's really loud in this trash can. I'm echoing. So, I just did a trip across America. Let me get out of this thing. To raise awareness about food waste, and I'll tell you the story of how it started, because just a year and a half ago I was a typical non-trash eating dude, and now I've been seen eating food out of dumpsters in about 20 or 25 states across the country. And so it started with a bike ride across America last summer to raise awareness about sustainability. And I had left actually from San Francisco on Earth Day. And I set some very rigorous rules for myself when it comes to food, water, energy waste, and transportation, to basically not allow myself to use any resources, to see what it would be like, and to see where our resources come from and learn. So my rule was I could only eat locally grown, organic, unpackaged food. And I found that in this country there's a lot of food deserts, which are places where you can't access healthy food, like this apple right here, which is a pretty good apple. So the solution was, when I couldn't find locally grown, organic, unpackaged food, I could eat out of dumpsters. The reason being, that food that was going to go to waste already had its environmental impact. The water, the fossil fuels, the transportation, the time, the energy, it all had been used already. So it turns out that eating out of grocery store dumpsters is actually kind of an environmentally friendly thing to do, because you're diverting stuff from a landfill. So because of that, I started to peek into dumpsters. And at first I was extremely timid. So, you know, I would see there would be people around and I'd kind of hide and peek inside, and I started to see that there was a lot of food in our dumpsters across America. And I was specifically looking at grocery store dumpsters. The reason being is that's where you can get your good, healthy food. So at first, again, I was extremely timid, and after I started to open dumpsters, I started to find massive piles of food in nearly every dumpster across America. So this, for example, is what I pulled out of one dumpster in Philadelphia, or sorry, this is a couple dumpsters in Philadelphia in just a matter of one night. What's over here? Is that me with a bunch of bread? So that's one night, one dumpster. That amount of bread is thrown away at one store every single night. And this over here is, I don't remember. What's going on here? That's Cleveland, Ohio. So what I started to find is that basically in every city across America, on a daily basis, we're filling our dumpsters full of perfectly good food. And when it's put in that dumpster, it is perfectly good. Because if you ever go to a grocery store, which I'm sure pretty much everybody here has, you never see bad food on the shelves. You rarely ever see anything with mold or anything like that. And when grocery stores throw food away, it's not like there's this holding area where they wait for it to go bad. They take it right out of the aisles, right out of the freezers and the refrigerators, and they throw it right in the dumpster. So fast forward, last year 70% of my diet came from dumpsters to the tune of 280 pounds. of food. Fast forward to this year, I decided to bike across the country again, and I decided to raise awareness about food waste because I found that it's pretty much an issue that deals with everything. There's really no issues that aren't tied into the amount of food that we're wasting in America. So I was in La Crosse, Wisconsin with my friend Dane, and we were just going to bike across the state of Wisconsin doing a campaign to raise awareness about how much food waste there is in Wisconsin. I was a little nervous on a Friday night, leaving on a Saturday morning, that I had committed to only eating dumpster food. And the next day, first thing in the morning, we check a dumpster, it's full of perfectly good food. Another, we want lunch at noontime, full of perfectly good food. 2 o'clock, we stop in a dumpster full of food. 4 o'clock, stop in another dumpster as we're biking, full of food. 6 o'clock, more food. And by day 2 of that trip, which was only supposed to be a 7-day trip, I just couldn't rationalize not biking all the way to New York City, living purely on dumpster food, because there was just so much of it, and it was such an easy way to draw attention to it, because I can rattle off all sorts of statistics at you, like we throw away $165 billion worth of food per year, which is more than, to give you an example, the FBI's budget is a tenth of that. So it's a lot of money. Or that we waste enough water just producing our food to supply every American with the amount of water they need. So these statistics, they're out there, and a lot of people hear them, but I'm looking for ways to show people how much food we're throwing away. So on this trip, I started to dive into a lot of dumpsters and invite the media to come with me, because they like that gross factor, like, ew, this dude's nasty, he's diving into the dumpsters. But then it's like, oh wait, actually what's nasty is the amount of food that we're throwing in Wisconsin, then Chicago, then Detroit, then Cleveland, then Washington, D.C., Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, New York City, and then Burlington, Vermont. And in every single one of these cities, I managed to collect about $2,500 worth of food in a place that I've never been, had no experience, and just had a volunteer with a car who took me along. Every single place, we managed to find enough food to do these food waste fiascos in just a matter of a few hours. The only thing that limited us was the size of the car, never the amount of food that we could find. If I had a semi in most of these cities, I could load them up in a few days with the amount of food that we're throwing away. Now this is just the grocery stores. This is just the part of the grocery stores, which makes up a very small fraction of the total amount of food that is thrown away. And then the other thing that I found is the amount of food that's actually being thrown away before it ever reaches the grocery store. But my campaign, what the idea was, is to get people to be proactive and start telling grocery stores, hey, we don't want you to throw away all this perfectly good food while there's people in need. We want you to donate it to nonprofits. So the beautiful thing that's about America is there's thousands of programs across America that are preventing perfectly good food from going to waste, and instead getting it to people in need, people in general. And so there's thousands of people doing this. There's thousands of grocery stores that are actually donated. The misconception is that grocery stores are liable for lawsuit if someone gets sick from the food that they donate. And as I've been doing this, I've been learning this the whole way. And at first I thought, okay, I can see where that's coming from. Then I learned about the Good Samaritan Food Act, which protects grocery stores, catering programs, restaurants. Anybody who serves food is encouraged to donate by the Good Samaritan Food Act and actually protected from lawsuit. But still, I got the people saying, yeah, but people are getting sued. And I thought, yeah, it must be. If there's this huge hype about places getting sued, then it must be happening. So then I did a little more research, and I came upon a University of Arkansas study that was done in 2013, and it turns out that not a single grocery store, restaurant, caterer, anybody has ever been sued after donating food to a nonprofit. So the most common rebuttal I get is, well, they're scared of lawsuits. But it turns out that that's one of two things. The reason they're using that is, one, they're kind of lazy, and that's an easy way to say, well, we'll get sued if we do it. That's kind of, so they can easily say that. Otherwise, there is a misconception. They actually think they're going to get sued. But this was passed in 1996. Prior to that, there was no law. Now it's there. So there's no real good reason for grocery stores not to donate the excess food. So the campaign was called Donate Not Dump. That's the hashtag. If you want to tell your grocery store, simply donate not dump. Don't throw your food away, give it to people in need instead. And it's been picking up across America. People have been seeing it. And like I said, there's already tons and tons of places donating. We just simply need more places to do it more often. But then beyond that, the even bigger issue is what we're talking about today, what you're seeing with these fruits and vegetables. I think I got a wonky carrot over here. Yeah. So, this is an ugly fruit, a wonky carrot. It's perfectly good. You guys have been eating these today. They weren't from the dumpster. I'm the dumpster guy. These guys don't do anything in the dumpsters. But before this stuff ever gets to the grocery store, they're throwing away millions and millions of pounds of perfectly good food just because of the shape or the color or the size, not because it's not good. So the two things that I'd like to see people talking to grocery stores about are, one, what are you guys doing with your excess food? Are you guys donating it or are you guys throwing it away? And two, how come you guys aren't selling these beautiful, ugly fruits? We'd like to see you guys selling these rather than rejecting them. So, my message is simple. Lead by example. Don't waste food. If you have excess food, compost it. The places that are wasteful, don't go to them. Instead, shop at the farmers markets and the local co-ops who are much better about that. And maybe eat ugly fruit, too. That's it. I'm done.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Greenfield.